And joining us now is Igor Novikov, a former advisor to President Zelensky. And Igor, I understand that you knew some of these people. They were very important members of the cabinet, obviously. I mean, we are so sorry for this tragedy. Talk to me about them.
Well, Andrea, thank you so much. Yeah, I knew all of them. The loss of the first deputy minister, Yevgeny Yenin, hurts the most because I've known him closely, and he's probably one of the most patriotic and honest people Ukrainian governments have ever seen. So it's a terrible loss, and anyone in Ukraine can vouch for the fact that if people express condolences, if people mourn the Minister of the Interior in a country like Ukraine, he was a decent person. So one small correction to what Rafa said, a temporary acting minister has been appointed today. It's the head of the National Police, Mr. Klemenko. He will be taking over, and the decision will be made in due course on who's going to be the permanent minister.
Well, we appreciate that update. Are you hearing anything about the cause and about obvious concerns that this was not just an accident? You're in the middle of a war zone. The whole country is a war zone.
Well, that's what President Zelensky was trying to stress today at Davos. He was basically saying that regardless of the actual cause of the crash, it was not an accident because everything is a direct result of this terrible war. Even if that was pilot error, even if there was a technical malfunction, the helicopter was flying low because of the threat of intercepts, and it was a very foggy day. At the moment, the cause of the crash is unclear, and I would ask people not to speculate and let the investigators do their job.
In terms of the war, which has reached a critical point, according to everyone I speak with, and we've heard this from President Zelensky, now we see that Great Britain has provided the first tanks. The Poles want to do the same, but are waiting for German approval because they are German-made. The U.S. says that the U.S. tanks are not compatible and are too complicated, but that they are providing other material. They're very defensive about how much $25 billion in weapons that has gone, not even counting the other aid. So where do you see this going? Because the British position, and the British Foreign Secretary was very clear here yesterday, and it still is here today, is that for Ukraine to win, we have to do more, what he calls further and faster, that we in the alliance have to provide more weapons and not be as careful and cautious as the U.S. critics say has been, with not providing the long-range missiles and not providing, with the ATACMS, and not providing jet fighters, Apache helicopters, to say nothing of the tanks. I guess the point that I'm making is, from the British Foreign Secretary's position that he made clear yesterday, was that if it's stalemated, then Russia can win. That Ukraine needs a clear victory, so why not give them more now?
Well, it's at the moment the situation on the front line is not at a stalemate. So there are certain areas of the front line like Bakhmut and areas around Soledar where Russia has the advantage and they are on the offensive. There are certain areas like Lugansk region, for example, where Ukraine is slowly moving forward, and so the front is very dynamic. In terms of the weapons deliveries, look, as a person on the ground here in Ukraine, I can tell you what hurts the most is that despite we get given everything, it takes so much time for us to receive the weapons and the training, and therefore we're paying for those delays with human lives, like we did a few days ago back in Dnipro, with kids' lives, and that hurts the most.
And we just see now that the NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg is warning of a new Russian offensive to come, and that Russia is willing to provide more and more troops, certainly using the Wagner Group, the mercenaries who have been so brutal in Soledar.
Well, the way I see things develop at the moment, as it seems at the moment, is that there will be another wave of escalation. Russia will be trying to escalate hard and using those newly mobilized soldiers. Now, if that doesn't work out for them, but Ukraine doesn't get the critical strategic advantage, we're looking at the war of attrition. Then Putin's goal would be to try and drag it out up to 24 or 25 and hope that Ukraine fatigue will set in and Ukraine will be left alone face to face with the sea.
And from your perspective, Russia cannot wait Ukraine out because Ukraine will not give up.
Well, we're not going to give up because we have nowhere else to go. This is our home. These are our lives. So, and Russia doesn't expect us to give up. Russia expects us to die, to be honest. And I do apologize. I sound like a Bond villain here, but it's true. So, the only way to win this war is for Russia to lose.
Well, Igor Novikov, again, we're so sorry for the loss, terrible losses to your country and to you personally. Thank you for being with us today.